Hello everyone, my name is the Mad Scorpion and welcome to another reset update for the week of February the 11th. So as we get into it, there is actually quite a few things that are initially just right here on drop. Of course, we do have the actual continuation of the story. We are not doing a all-in-one week sort of thing. We do have week-by-week story, it does seem again. And there is a few more things going on, including boosted Gambit ranks, the release of Master Sunder Doctrine, the dungeon, as well as a new kind of cosmetic which you might see on my character, which is free to try out and free to collect in case you want to see more things like it. Just to give you a visual representation of what it looks like, it's just kind of like this nice pink stream. But with that, let's get into the week at large. Starting off per the usual, we do have the Nightfall, this week being the Heist Battleground Mars, which this one is a bit of a weird one in terms of difficulty because you just kind of run the usual route up to Rasputin on the old Warmind area, but at the same time, the main difficult areas is the starting point because there is a lot of holdout zones. You have to capture 3 zones and deal with pretty much infinite amounts of ads. Then you also have to get through the door, which is another holdout zone with an infinite amount of ads, but after you get through that, it's pretty much almost a done deal because then you get through the enemies, through the lasers, and you are at the final boss. The final boss, though, is the Darkblade Kelgaroth, which is basically the Light Blade, but also not so aggressive in terms of physical, or I should say ranged attacks, because he does get faster after a time, and he does get more aggressive the longer the fight goes on. However, there is a cheese spot that I do recall in case you want to deal with that, but per the usual when it comes to these heist battlegrounds, once you get to the end, you do have to leave the nest and eventually deal with arc charges. So, is it difficult? I'd say to the not-so-experienced ones, but to those of us who have been doing this might be a very farmable one. But on the topic of farming, the weapon available is the Rake Angle, which I kept saying Rake Angel, but that sounded frankly cooler. However, this is the aggressive Stasis Glaive that came to us just a few seasons ago, which I still don't know if it's exactly worth farming. I am a fan of aggressive glaives because of the old Judgment of Kelgaroth ages ago, but at the same time, I don't personally know if this one's worth grinding. I know there's dozens of people that probably made videos saying it's all the rage, but at the same time, I'm just not exactly with glaives nowadays. Regarding the Crucible and its variety of active modes, right now with labs we do have hardware mix, which officially I don't remember how this is different from anything else, but judging that it's labs, I imagine this is mostly just one of those modes that is less abilities, more firearms. However, into the 6v6 we have the usual clash and control. In the 4v4 we do have lockdown, and then with 3v3 there is the basic competitive roles and rumble for the usual bits. I imagine we'll be getting Iron Banner soon, and Trials of Osiris may be active this weekend, but I think that may be active in the next couple of weeks. I'm not exactly sure, but that's also because I don't really keep up with anything Crucible. Now, for our featured activities, raids, and dungeons and the like, starting off, we do have Operation Seraph Shield, which does in the end reward the pretty based pulse rifle of Revision Zero. It's an excellent anti-champion weapon featuring intrinsic anti-barrier, not to mention the amount of damage that it can kick out with its sniper shot. If you don't know how this weapon works, essentially, it is a customizable pulse rifle that you can change between 2 or 4 round burst that if you build up energy with precision hits, eventually you'll be able to convert that into a high-powered sniper shot that, when combined with things like 4th times the charm or a Vorpal, makes it so that you can not only get bonus ammo, but get incredibly powerful rounds against things like champions and other bosses. A very solid choice in case you're looking for a simple PvE exotic and otherwise a craftable and customizable exotic. In that same respect, in case you wish to earn any of the Ikelos or Seraph weapons from Seasons 19 and prior, there is the available red borders that can drop from this activity that can allow you to craft it or otherwise just hunt a better role for ones that you already have. In that same respect, in terms of our weekly featured missions, we do have the King's Fall and Garden of Salvation no, that's not dungeons, those are raids. Those are currently the featured activities, which means per the usual that everything is farmable. There are red borders to hunt in both the respective raids. However, with the Garden of Salvation, Divinity is a once and done sort of quest. King's Fall, however, does have the Touch of Malice to farm out for in case you're hunting that, and they both are raids. However, only one has a master mode that if you wish to jump into and farm out extra armor stats and adept weapons, that is just the King's Fall raid, as the Garden of Salvation is still a little bit behind, doesn't exactly have a master mode. In that same respect, though, speaking of master and not, for the dungeons, we have the Pit of Heresy and the Ghosts of the Deep, which in that same respect, Ghosts of the Deep does have an active master mode that you can farm out artifice armor, as well as a catalyst available from the exotic available at this dungeon, the Navigator, that is only earnable through master mode. In that same respect, though, at the same time, Pit of Heresy pretty much has none of that, as the Xenophage is the drop from this dungeon, and that is a quest-based thing. There is no Artifice Armor, there is no Master Mode, and the weapons aren't exactly anything stellar to farm out for. Supposedly the only thing good about Pit of Heresy is being a quick dungeon for the Pinnacle and a pretty good armor stat roll. However, no Artifice Armor, so in the end, is it all that worth it? So, prospectively, some things are far more worth farming than others, possibly better to just wait for another week. In terms of our challenges, we do have for Salvation's Edge the Varied Geometry Challenge, and into the variety of challenges, we do have for Crota's End the usual bug where we don't have it unless it is featured. The Root of Nightmares is Cosmic Equilibrium for the planet's boss encounter. King's Fall once again being featured, all challenges active, infinitely farmable. The Valor Disciple is the Looping Catalyst or Rolk challenge for final boss. Vault of Glass is the only Oracle for you, aka Oracle Challenge, can't break the same one twice. Deepstone Crypt is Copies of Copies, which is you can't delete any of the Atrax clones during the Atrax fight. Garner Salvation again featured, so all challenges active, infinitely farmable, and Last Wish is finally the Summoning Ritual. And for our Master Mode focuses, Salvation's Edge is rewarding Recovery Focused Armor, and the King's Fall is offering Mobility Focused Armor. And wrapping it all up with Dares of Eternity Expert Mode, we have Hive, Fallen, and Ballast to Arc for those 3 rotations. After the weekly feature, we of course have the weekly challenges to go over with another week too. Fair warning, I have a feeling that it will be a consistent set of 15 per this season, so make sure to complete these as you can throughout the season. Now, first is complete Act 1, Part 2 of Echoed Warnings. Basically, this always boils down to play this week's story. The next is the Heretical Arsenal for defeating combatants with machine gun final blows, bonus progress while in the roguelike that is the Nether, or by defeating Guardians. Next is the Sigil Cracker, which is destroying sigil stones that drop from defeated combatants around the system to purge the written words of the deep. I'm assuming this is something relevant to the current seasonal story, I don't know for sure though. The next is Focus Scriptures, which is earning focused rewards from your boosted Tome of Want, basically just, use something, get something out of it. The next is Frozen Weed for defeating combatants with either Strand or Stasis blows in the Nether. Earn bonus progress while empowered by one of the following boons, which is Herald of the Deep, Paracausal Siphon, or Finishing Strand. Large Arms Soulfire, which is basically defeating targets with machine guns or grenade launchers, bonus progress in heresy activities, or by defeating Guardians Crucible per the usual. Taken Destroyer for in any Vanguard Ops or Gambit playlist, defeating taking combatants, earn additional final blows by ability kills, and the Bank Gunner for playing Gambit and banking things, or playing Gambit, earn bonus progress for wins. Now, I wanted to make an additional note with the Heretical Arsenal up here. It does appear this challenge offers a special Masterworked reward of the Watchful Eye with an additional origin trait. So if you wish to actually get something more unique, this is a quick way to get something a little bit more spicier than the basic version. Now, once again, in case you didn't notice, they did give you a free one to try in the Eververse store, but in case you wished to acquire this kind of trail, which I am imagining they're going to be expanding and adding more trails in the future, there is a more permanent variety in case you wish to buy them after trying them. With that being said, getting into the Bright Dust store per the usual, on the front page we do have some offers, the form of Meditator, a shader that, man, they really relied on a lot of those alternate colors there, because I expected something a little more silver, purple, and orange, and I just see kind of gray. Regardless, into the next one we have Boreal Char, which isn't that much different. It's lots of black, lots of white, looks very charred while also being a bit clean. Next is a Sterile Neutrino Effect Transmat, which is basically just, spawning in Taken style, back from Season of the Drifter, if it will even decide to load and work, but you can imagine exactly what it will be once you look at it. The next is the Stormweaver, which is from last season, Act of Revenant, which is basically a strand ship in case you wanted to look a little bit more lime green in your travels and look a little bit more like a boomerang now that I actually look at it. Maybe like a sparrow. It's hard to say officially. And next we have the Pied Piper, which is an emote also from the last season, which I imagine would be something about playing a flute. Ah, there we go. You are definitely playing a flute, which looks like a recorder in the end. However, that's pretty much just it. There is no music to go along with it. So next into the main store for Flare's shaders, Smashing Success, which you can imagine is looking like a Gallagher watermelon, in case you wish to look like a watermelon. The next is First Light from Season of Opulence, which even though it looks like it should be a lot more green, is a lot more just kind of grape purple now that I actually look at it. The Royal Welcome from the same season is a little bit of a callus kind of look, except, well, being a dirty callus, if there is a good way to say that. And the Amethyst Bloom from Season of the Hunt, which is basically just kind of magenta-ish purple in pinkish combined together. but that's nothing exactly spectacular. Next is the Tiger Transmat, which is you, of course, popping out of the good old Bungee Tiger. The Stasis Entrance, which is you just popping out of a usual Stasis Crystal. And the Unspun Fate, which is you popping out of pretty much a Strand Tangle version of yourself. Into the main items, we have the Venus Flytrap, which is an emote, which, I guess that's just you getting somebody out. I would say that's you getting out of quicksand. Oh, okay, I see what you mean. You're stuck in a pot of plant. That's a weird one. Now, for the Titans, we have the 4 Redemption ornament for the, I forget what it's called, Second Chance Gauntlets, which, in perspective, the other classes will have their own versions. I would take the time right here to show what the Hunters are wearing for their ornament, as well as right now for the Warlocks to see what their ornaments are available in the store. The next is the Jade Weft, which is like that ship previewed on the first page, the Strand Sparrow to go with last season's set, if you just wish to look a little bit more lime green in your travels. The next is the M3D1 Valkyrie, in case you wanted a ship that kind of looks like you are supposed to be a medic, but also being futuristic and weirdly small for some reason. The next is the Halcyon Visage, which is from Season of the Hunt, basically kind of like, what's the word? The DeLorean from Back to the Future, but also not really. And probably the big ticket item here, the Ancient Hunger, in case you wanted to Ahamkara bone up the, I forgot the word of it, a Touch of Malice. Basically just a Ahamkara bone and spine, look for Touch of Malice in case you wish to, you know, spice up the look of the blanket and cloth gun. Lastly, the usual ghost projection to be ignored, a Hive ghost projection, and with that, that is everything available for this week in Destiny. My name is the Mad Scorpion, and once again, I'm just thankful for anyone who has watched this far. If you would leave a like, subscribe, comment, whatever, discuss something you are interested in for the week ahead, go ahead and leave that in the comments below. But otherwise, I will see you in the next video.